Hello, we are at day 39 of our Bible reading plan, Bible reading through the book of John, the writings of John, the apocalypse of John, the letters, and the gospel, all the things that John wrote, all 5 books. And we're right here at the very end, chapter 19 and 20 of the book of Revelation. Chapter 19 describes for us the second coming of Christ. When he returns, he's not riding on a donkey. He's riding on a war horse, and he's not coming as a baby, he's coming as a conqueror. And we see this depicted so beautifully, the 19th chapter of the book of Revelation. Chapter 20 describes for us the reign that Jesus will have on earth for the millennium, and 1,000 years reign, and the Christians get to reign with him, as it says. So Satan, at the beginning of the millennium, has been defeated, and he is bound. He is tied up. Can no longer deceive and destroy the nations. So, the things that occur to me in the natural reading of these 2 chapters is, number 1, the second coming of Christ happens before the millennial reign of Christ. Chapter 19 is in front of chapter 20. So that seems to put those 2 things in direct order. Also, during the millennium, Satan is bound. And the idea that the millennium is happening now, isn't it? And that we are somehow in an extended period where the church age is the millennium, that doesn't seem to hold true to reality when I look around and see how much impact Satan still has in the world, and the idea that he could be bound and still cause the difficulty and trouble that he's got doesn't make much sense to me. So it seems that the millennium is still ahead of us, and it is after the second coming of Christ that we are desperately looking forward to. We also see that hell is a real place, and it's not an annihilation. It is an eternal torment, that in hell life goes on in torment rather than life being ended, and the punishment is only momentary. But perhaps the most encouraging thing in the story of the second coming of Christ is how he wins the war. He defeats the enemy. He wins the battle with the sword coming out of his mouth. Now, these are Old Testament images, to be sure, and New Testament images, but the sword is the Word of God. It says in Hebrews and Ephesians 6, the sword of the Spirit. That's the Word of God. So, the Bible, God speaking, and the word that comes out of Jesus' mouth is all he's going to need to win the war. And that is our biggest weapon in waging the battles that we face, and defending our Christian stance against the world. We have to stand with the Scriptures, because ultimately the Scriptures, the Word of God, will win the war. Be blessed.